Hello everyone, my name is Webweaver and welcome back to another episode of It's Look Who It Is. The very annoying thing happened as I was setting up this recording, ad? It's the ads phase? What the hell? There's an ad for today's sponsor? I don't know where I'm going with this, but we're gonna play... I think I said we would play... Did I say we would play Ayaka today? I feel like I said we would play Ayaka today, so I guess we will. I don't know if I even said that, though. I'll be real with you. Today was kind of sketchy because I had a phone call that I had to answer. But the thing is, I didn't know when the phone call was coming in. And they told me that it could be really early in the morning, you know? So it's like, and it's in a different time zone. So it's not just like really early in the morning, it's like actually early in the morning. And the thing is, it was also a Tuesday, which kind of worked out, because the thing is, my static leader and we raid on reset, basically, so it's really late at night. So I woke up for this earlier than I normally would, had technically time to take a nap, but instead was like, well, I don't know when this phone call is coming through. And so I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And I had a very funny scare where I accidentally went to go take my dog outside, and then I left my phone, and I was like, no, dude, no way, bro, no way, dude. Thankfully, they didn't call me at that point. That would be absolutely devastating. But, we're apparently doing scars. We're apparently, we doing scars now. Here's the thing, right? I guess we're just kind of gonna run this, like, pretty stock standard. History Club got nerfed specifically on Ayaka, but... I mean, I think we can kind of just play this relatively normally. But basically, instead of taking a nap, stayed up, and, went about the day, etc., did IRL things that you were supposed to do for IRL responsibilities, okay? And when it was done, when it was all said and done, I still didn't get the phone call. And then, randomly in the afternoon, I got the phone call. And when I answered the phone, I was trying to be, like, purposely vague here, if that makes sense, because I don't want to give away, like, some errant detail that makes Kiwi's eyes start to glow, and he's like, haha. But, basically, I was trying to get, it was a phone call where I am trying to get information, and so I call them, and they're like, yeah, everything's, like, pretty messed up, actually, and, nobody really knows what's going on. And it's like, oh, that's great. So, I then ask, because there's a question that I need answered. It's very important. I need this question answered. And so I ask that question, and the guy's like, I have no idea. I'll get back to you. And then he hangs up, and then the process repeats again. And so, because here's the thing, it was the afternoon, I had a little bit of time to, I had a nice window to take a nap. But because he said he would call back soon, I'm like, hands up, okay, sure, whatever, alright. I think we go Bulletin, right? I'm looking at these mysteries, and I'm like, I think you go Bulletin. Recluse kind of terrifying. I think you start Bulletin, and then you just kind of work your way up from there. Insomnia can go to hell. I think eventually, like, as long as we don't stack brain damage, it should probably still work out better for us. Now, you're looking at something like this, and you're like, Jesus Christ, honestly. But it is what it is. I think you take the accuracy. It's only 10% more. But, like, eventually the speed won't matter. Like, this is less accuracy, more damage, but eventually that won't matter. The only thing that the weapon does at this point or at the end game, I should say, the only thing that the weapon will do is accuracy. So you might as well take a nice weapon with nice accuracy. But so I was planning to take a nice little nap. Could not happen. And so I basically slept about maybe 2 hours in total. And so I'm not feeling the best. And then I had Raid, obviously. And the thing about Raid is that it basically ended up being canceled because we were... And now that I'm remembering it, I actually have to do the Rising event because I was trying to do it, okay? And I kept getting disconnected from the servers. We were under attack. We were being sundered. It was awful, all right? I got disconnected from the game 3 times, and my game... There's, like, a error with Final Fantasy XIV where if you fail to connect to, like, the lobby server or whatever while you're connecting to the game crashes. It's called Error 2002. It's pretty infamous. And so what ended up happening was that happened to me twice, and then I lost connection to the game 3 times. And so at that point, I was just like, yeah, no, I'm done, right? At that point, I was just like, nah. I think you run here, honestly. You can feel pretty good about running that. Holy glyphs. Holy crap. I mean, honestly, if we get, like, another item, that kind of goes hard. And we can get another item, but I don't think it's worth it. Because we could either get a History Club item or a hospital item, like a painkiller, but... Ooh. Now, we could, like, literally just randomly die, but I think it's fine. It's just the risk that you run playing on Ayaka, and we'll do it. We'll run it back if this goes horribly wrong, right? I almost feel like we need to just get, like a curse from here. Like... Apparently I'm stupid. Apparently we're on all perks. Now, that's probably the best way to discover that you are on all perks is getting adrenaline, but now we have all these dog shit stats, and the thing is Ayaka's perks aren't in the all perk pack pool. So, you know, you're looking at something like this, you can remove one of these per mystery. I think you gotta send this one Doom-wise, and then you gotta go to the monument a couple of times until it takes money. And then you just gotta eat the... the jar of blood. I don't know why I was struggling on that one for so long, but I was. And you know what? We'll be embarrassed and leave. You quickly exit the shop. That would do... There's a lot of people I know who not being able to pay for a coffee would do much, much more than just 1 sanity damage. I think that is, like, at least in my personal experience, the most, like, unhinged thing. It's like, oh yeah, walking in a field, spooky grass, woo! You know, I'm taking half the amount of damage that, like, a fertility god trying to get me to walk into a river does to my mental health. But, you know, not being able to pay for something that I thought I could pay for in a public setting, you know, that is only 1 sanity damage. There's no way, chat. There's no way. But, yeah, I haven't slept very long, and I'm not gonna sleep very long tonight either. You know, we really are, we're I don't remember what the saying is, but it's something to do with, like, burning your candle, and it's like, yeah, you're, like, the longer, like, the candle is gonna burn, and then it's gonna go out, and it's gonna be awful, right? I think we take the safe route, honestly, but that's so much Doom. That's so much Doom, but we need the EXP. This is awful. This is terrible. This is so bad, but, like, also, like, it's horrible in a lot of ways, and you can take whatever you want. Probably one of the better outcomes, to be honest with you. I would have preferred money. But, like, what are we looking at here, you know? What are we thinking about for this run? I'm thinking about clicking as quickly as possible so we can get on to the second run as soon as possible. Because this is not a... I did not mean... I accidentally clicked some random window in Steam. Whoops. This is not the kind of Ayaka run that I was expecting to get. And also, I can't help but notice, but after we got adrenaline for an arm and a leg, we never fought anything again. And the game seems pretty happy to, like, you know, be pretty cool with that. We left it on the hospital, right? I'm, like, pretty sure we did. Because it was on the school and then we moved it to the hospital. I think you gotta remove this. Like, Insomnia sucks, obviously, but we're about to see. Okay, good. Look at that. That's good. One doom. So we still have the hospital here. And the reason why we want to do this early is we gotta run, you know? We gotta get the hell out of here. So, here's the thing. Holy Glyphs actually pog here. That's pretty cool. Because we actually had, like, items that Holy Glyphs would be, like, worth casting, I think. I wasn't really paying attention to our Doom as much as I should be. I was paying attention to the pretty lights on my screen, and the flashing lights on my screen, too. But, the thing is, like, the raid, my raid, I'm all over the place, I apologize. My raid ended up being canceled because, which thankfully we at least re-cleared M2S. Like, we did that on, like, our third or second pull, I don't remember. And then what ended up happening was our off-tank ended up getting pulled into, like, an emergency work meeting. And, you know, unfortunately, what is that? Like, there's a law that's trying to be passed where it's like you have the right to disconnect from work so you can't be called randomly for no reason. Don't know if that's been implemented yet. Don't know. We should follow up on that one in like 8 to 7 business days. I think that might be a good idea. Then of course the next fight that we got into was like, you know, one where we never actually fight anything. And you know, you're sitting here and honestly, I'm a fool. We could have more stuff if we wanted to. Now you got 2 stamina. You're looking at that, you're thinking about that, and you're just gonna full send it here. And then you're gonna, like, cry, I guess, because you missed an attack there, and then you can do 10 damage guaranteed. We are gonna end up running from this enemy, because it's like, I mean, you look at, like, a 25 health, 4 stamina, 3 stamina damage enemy who's got a decent power level, and you tell me that we're safe and secure in that situation. Now, here's the thing. Ghostly Spear kind of cracked. Oh, I thought they were a ghost for some reason. That looks like a ghost to me. But apparently we can just throw hands with them. I think 90% chances is fine, honestly. I think that's okay. No, wait a minute. I don't think that's okay. What if we did a little desperation and we just guaranteed the whole thing was done and or dusted? Maybe we can fight the boss here. Because we've got, if we live, we'll have Go-Go Gadget Prayer Beads for the 1 damage throw. You love to see it. But if we live here, we're not in a horrible spot. Ghostly Spear made me so optimistic, and I was like, oh, yippee. My ass was immediately, like, the moment I started being optimistic about the run, I was taken out back and shot. We're not allowed to have good vibes or happy karma here, alright? We're only allowed to have rancid bad vibes. Do I want to do this? I really don't want to do this. I wanted to play, like, an actual Ayaka run. Please forgive me. Just give me Ghostly Spear. I mean, that is something to do with stamina, and then we have Exquisite Taste, which is like... Listen. We're gonna need a weapon of some kind, and I think I know what we're gonna get. We're gonna get a pharmacy going, and you're gonna cry when you get an injury, and then you lose the game, but... You know, you have a couple of weird runs, and that's good enough. But yeah, we cleared M2S, we cleared Honeybee. It was pretty easy. Raid got canceled due to work-life balance. No right to disconnect yet. I hope I didn't accidentally, like, dox the off-tank in my, static. But I don't think they have an online presence as far as that's concerned, so it's probably okay. It's probably fine. This is like the forest hell, you know? Household Hell, Botany, Found Footage, Fear Festival. This is the out-of-town kill shot. If you get roads closed early, this is just kind of like you lose the game. If the forest is doomed or the mansion is doomed, you just kind of feel like you lose the game. I mean, I guess we do Found Footage or Botany. I guess we'll do Botany. But, oh yeah, I didn't take that thing off. There you go, you can see the screen now. Sorry, you just got 4 hearts over your head. What can I say? We didn't even take the money here, like, what the hell? Me and fungal growth roots. So at least these things do something now. Now, none of this shit is useful in the slightest. Now, this is cinema. Scalpel Ayaka? I don't wanna... I'm a little concerned, you know? Do we do this for 15 EXP? I don't know if we do. The village is doomed. Okay. I mean, I'll make that trade, honestly, but... I do hopefully get to catch up with sleep at some point. I'm not entirely sure, though. But hopefully I can just have a good sleep on a nice Wednesday. And then I was gonna make a joke about how I'm definitely not forgetting to do something tomorrow. I'm definitely not forgetting to remember something tomorrow. Listen, one of the funniest bits is my Canadian friends specifically are all horrified that Americans joke about the thing that is being remembered today, right? I don't know if YouTube is gonna be like, hey, you just said like a keyword, so now you have like a Wikipedia entry under your video, because what if somebody has some weird opinions about, you know, the melting point of steel or whatever, you know? Try to ignore the feeling. Me IRL. That just came out of complete left field. I apologize. Me and Curse Rutsu. See, this is actually a good thing now. And these curses also aren't that bad. So we're just gonna be like we're just kind of enjoying what's happening right now. We're just kind of having a good time. Just kind of feeling good, having a good time, hanging out, chatting with the friends, chatting with the family in the woods, getting shot by psychos with guns, being bandaged up and apologized to, like, oh, you got a little dislocated shoulder after we shot you in the shoulder. Listen, it is what it is. I almost want to run away from this just because it's like 75% chance. And it's like we have to take like an even worse chance later because we go down to 7. Because how about we take the sketchy chance now, right? Maybe we just don't take any chance at all and we just get the hell out of here. Regain 1 reason and escape. You just get me the hell out of here. We do have flesh regrowth, I guess, but like also I don't really mess with that. Second enemy, Shiro-san, by the way. Gonna remember that, put that in your back pocket for later. That will be on the test. But I've been thinking about like Savage a lot recently, because doing Party Finder really did just kill my resolve to do the tier. Because Party Finder is just so annoying, and I've ranted about it 80 times, I apologize. It's not gonna, the rants are never gonna stop about Party Finder as long as I have to do it. But one of the things that I was thinking about is Hector Hectorson got an interview with the Final Fantasy, like, there's a thing that they do where they take, like, prominent members of the community and they'll do, like, little interviews for them. And Hector Hectorson got an interview. Now, 99% of you who are watching this, I shouldn't say that, like 95 or 90% of you who are watching this are like, who the hell is Hector Hectorson? First of all, he's way more popular than me, obviously, but it's just like a statistical thing of Hector is already a niche that is only in the Savage community, basically, and if you do Party Finder stuff, or if you prog in a static that uses Hector strats. So the fact that most of the people who are watching these videos don't think about or know much about Final Fantasy XIV, that is the justification to the statement, if that makes sense. Honestly, I just kind of want to do Fear Festival, if you can believe it. And you get Mind Wipe out of here because it's awful. And then you just kind of deal with everything else. Fearful is pretty bad too, don't get me wrong, but we're just kind of chilling. We can get some allies here. We have some good potential for allies here. We got a lot of health banked up. Now you see somebody like Hiroyuki Mizutani and you're just like, yeah, I guess you can just go to hell, dickhead. And then you take a walk in the woods and you get mugged by some random demon-looking entity that wants to stop you from getting to the factory and stopping an ancient ritual. We would definitely take, like, a Spiral Hoodie. What? Everybody wants my money. Everybody wants money from me. I'm being shaken down for money. People want the Rubik's Cube, and then they want my help solving the Rubik's Cube. Don't I do enough? How dare you? Absolutely not. What the hell is wrong with you? Come back when I'm playing Toshiaki and I still won't take you. Anyways, I'm on a warpath tonight. I really am, to be honest with you. Oh, hey, look, it's the same event again. Oh, hey, look. It's Look Who It Is. So true. But Hector got an interview recently, right? And the thing is, Hector is a very polarizing figure in the community. And I think that's kind of a shame. Because, oh my god, we got roads closed. I didn't even comment about that. Never mind, just get me out of this mystery, please. No doom, no doom, no doom, no doom, no doom. I hate you. Okay. 2 damage, huh? Cool. I mean, both of these are so good. Both of these are crazy good. Like, you need both of them. Like, you absolutely need both of them. I think you take Blood Mania just to make your combat better, right? And then you take, like, +1 knowledge. Like, right now our combat is, like, good, and now our stats are the bad part. Like, the thing about Ayaka is, at the start of the game, your combat's bad and your stats are bad. When you get one perk, one of those things gets fixed forever and scales into the late game. And so you need to get both those things. And you get both those things, you basically win. You get Doomed Effigy. It's a nice little treat. Nice little treat, because you get a little bit of Doom reduction. Found footage household hell. I mean, this just sucks, honestly. But our combat's really good. I think Eldritch Possession is probably the safer thing, because it does make your combat slightly better, and it also makes your, like, events way better, too. But I guess I'm just worried about, like, our next combat, because our weapon is just genuinely so bad. Honestly, we're not gonna get we're not investigating the mansion twice, because it requires you to go to a location where you're getting the roads closed penalty twice, and you're doing that in exchange for maybe skipping 3 investigations, when it doesn't really do anything for you. Like, it does do things for you, but it's like, you know, you're kind of happy to just get as many global events as possible. But for those of you who don't know, Hector is basically like a guy who, thank you, global events, he basically makes guides for the Savage fights, and he's known for being very quick, but not always the best, right? So there are sometimes better strategies, sometimes easier strategies, sometimes more efficient strategies. But the thing is, the Hector guides come out really fast, and most importantly, I wouldn't be a Hector defender if this wasn't the case, right? Most importantly, the Hector guides work, right? Like, that's the most important thing that I can impart upon you if you don't know anything about, like, Final Fantasy rating, is these fights are basically choreographed dancing puzzles, okay? And the fact of the matter is, okay, that's a global event, but not one that we want. We would have rather taken a forest event there. Now, not particularly this forest event, because now we have Badly Bleeding, and we're gonna bleed to death in the forest. Okay, that's kind of good, but also kind of bad. Like, we would have liked to get that earlier. I guess we're going into Household Hell next. But basically, like, the fight will come out, and then maybe like a day later, the Hector guide will come out. Now, what's impressive about this is that every other guide maker, except, like, really, really fancy ones like June Bob or some of the people who do these massive projects of, like, ultimate guides, is that these Hector guides are all, like, basically diagrams that are illustrated in, like, a PowerPoint presentation way, right? So, there are accurate representations of what the mechanics look like from a top-down perspective that is made by Hector. And not only do these come out, like, a day after the fight does, like, the M1S one was out, like, day 2 or day 3, or, like, day 2.5 or something. And then the other ones were very short to follow. Like, Hector will create strategies that will work. And the thing is, he gets a lot of shit, especially for the, I think it was the P12S guide that he did, because he published the P12S guide before he cleared it. And people got mad at him. But the thing is, it worked. Like, the guide worked. And that's the thing that I always think is, like, very silly about, like, Hector hate, and why I think a lot of it is just, like, very forced, is this is a guy who makes high-quality guides that, for the most part, like, work pretty well. Even if they're not the most efficient way to do something, they still work. And if you learn them, that's not going to be like, okay, maybe you are learning something that is inefficient or even in some cases harder to do. But it still works. And if the information is presented to you, oh, I'm dumb as hell. Well, here's the thing, right? We need a bandage for badly bleeding, so if you don't mind. I don't have enough money. I'm dumb. Well, we're bleeding to death. I've made my decision, we're bleeding to death. I've made my decision, we are bleeding to death. That is what we are doing. Badly bleeding is gonna kill us. I am not going to do anything to stop it, because that is basically just throwing, with the amount of doom that we have right now, that's basically just throwing. We can get this down from a high threat level to a low threat level. We're still getting the doom penalty, so we want to get out of here as quickly as possible, but you know, you just want to get out of here ASAP. This is going to be a loss unless we get insanely lucky on this mystery. And there's not that many ways that we can get insanely lucky on this mystery, other than, like, multiple -3 dooms in a row, or we just get out of this mystery, like, as quick as possible. I don't know why, by the way, I am, like, entertaining any of this shit. I should have taken Eldritch Possession 100%. I think Eldritch Possession is the 100% lock-in every single time, just because of how strong it is. Like, yeah, our combat is solved forever, but that's not what we're worried about right now. I would rather the combat be a little sketchy. We do have Frostbite Wiggle Room here. Not what you want at all. In the slightest? I mean, just roll it too, who cares? This sucks, we basically lost, because we took so long to get out of this hell of the household variety. But yeah, Hector is a guy who exists, and he has helped, like, my static and I clear fights that we were having trouble with because of his guides. And listen, some people in my static don't like Hector, some people in my static don't watch the Hector guides, and they just go in blind, and they learn the fight regularly, right? And here's the thing. I totally understand that if you are in a situation where you are like a hardcore raider, you're going in early, you're making the strats, or you're discovering the strats, and then you, like, figure out these things that work really well and are really easy to learn, and then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, now we're starting to lose a lot of blood. It's like a switch gets flipped, man! Doesn't do anything for the first 2 mysteries, and then suddenly every single investigation right now. Every single investigation right now. It's true. I mean, what do you want me to say in this particular regard? We take 2 damage, and then what? Oh, we do have flesh regrowth. That's kind of funny. Do we have curse signs? We actually don't. Well, here's what we're gonna do, alright? That's not gonna do 5 damage, unfortunately. But what we can do is this, apparently. So just sell the handcuffs. Oh, no, bro. I can't believe I've done this. Okay, block and then offering. We take 2 damage. And then we're out. Hate that you can't sell things during combat. It makes sense, but it's a quirk that I very rarely remember until it's too late. But, like, basically, when the Hector guide comes out, that's, like, the party finder way of doing it, right? Like, if you're doing it with random people, you're most likely doing it the Hector way. And so, if you did learn a more efficient strategy, and then Hector comes out with a, like, less effective strategy, and then you have to learn and adapt to the less effective strategy, it's like, yeah, that, like, I can understand why you'd be, like, pretty upset about that. But also at the same time, you know, it's like, I mean, we're just gonna go back in here, I think, yeah. Unfortunately, one of the problems that we have is we never got Eldritch Parasite, so we basically lose the game on the lighthouse. Unless we get it right here, we lose the game. You lose the game right here. That's why you always take Eldritch Parasite first. I decided to mix it up a little bit, and then I remembered why I never experiment in this game, and I just autopilot 100% of the time. Is because when you try to mix it up, when you try to do something different, you're guaranteed to lose because you just die. Not having Eldritch Parasite basically guarantees that we lose here. Unless we get, like, stupidly lucky in the lighthouse. Is there any way that we can, like, theoretically win? Do we have branded? Incredibly, no. So what we would have to do is not have strength and dexterity, but also not have... Alright, listen, you gotta do something like this. But then you have to rest twice anyways, right? That gets you out of lethal range. Honestly, no. If you want to win, you check the lighthouse here. I was hoping we just got Eldritch Parasite and we just no thoughts had empty win the game. So here's what we're gonna do here, alright? We're gonna hope. We're gonna pray. Look at the charisma, look at the light source. Oh shit, okay, alright. It's over? It's over, chat. It's Jover, even. Do we have an ally? Oh, frick. Do we have, do we have anything that we can get rid of? Discard, lose 2 reason? Max 2 reason, you piece? So, we did get strength and dexterity, though, so this was, like, still kind of the correct play in a very weird way. We should have taken... Should we have taken sanity? We would be at 5? No, we would be at 6 right now. And then we would be at 5. We could drink for 6, and then we would rest for 1 to get to 7. Oh, shit, that was the correct play. Oh, no. Is there any way that we can reduce the doom that we have? Absolutely get rid of Innsmouth Look. You've only got 1 of it, and it can kill you here. And then, you rest twice, and then everything else is in the Eldritch Entity's hands. Which you actually don't have Heart of Darkness, so it's theoretically possible. Actually, is it possible? Because you get the 1 doom, so we're in, like, 2 investigations left, right? So it was Shiro-san, right? I remember saying that out loud. So I think we lose by 1? Oh shit, we're oh wait. Oh my god. Don't talk to me about this one ever again. Thank you, Flesh Regrowth, very cool. Listen, I said that we were gonna bleed to death, but apparently Ayaka said, haha, Flesh Regrowth go burr. That was an awful run. Don't ever talk to me about that one again. But basically, like, Hector has made, like, Party Finder... I understand that depending on the kind of player you are, Hector might have made Party Finder much worse for you. But at the end of the day, it's the fact that a lot of the NA rating scene can kind of just, like, collectively come together as, like, hey, these are the strats that we're using, these are the strats that you need to learn, and it's compatible with, like, I don't know, like 70+% of parties, even if the strats aren't the most efficient or the best for damage uptime or whatever, right? Even if they're not, first of all, you can always adjust and change later, right? Like, I've been seeing a lot more when I'm doing, like, M1S reclears. What are they, like, the Starmy ones or the Starvy ones for Raining Cats or whatever? You know, you can adjust in the future when you find something better, but also just having this, like, standard that... And here's the thing, right? This, I said it earlier in the video, but I'm gonna say it again, because it really just needs to be hammered home. Even the guides that are really, really controversial because Hector uploaded the guides and made the diagrams before he cleared the fight, even then they still work, right? Like, in my entire time of playing Final Fantasy XIV Savage Raiding, which was at the beginning of Endwalker, so admittedly, you know, maybe I don't have much room to speak here, but all of the Hector guides so far, from P1 to M4S, have been fine. Some of them haven't been perfect, some of them have been a little janky, some of them have sort of described mechanics in ways that I personally find it more difficult, or some of them have had, like, ways of describing mechanics that I personally think are overcomplicating things. But guess what? Guess what, gamers? They work. And not everybody is going to take the same information in the same way. So there might be some people who are like, oh yeah, that is the easiest way to think about it, thank you. And then they might get it. You know, it's very easy to just be able to... It's very easy to criticize somebody who is out there and making content that, you know... And I think objectively, in some aspects, depending on what kind of raider you are, you could definitely say that Hector made Party Finder worse for you. Because it forces you to conform to potentially worse strategies, or potentially unoptimized strategies, right? When the more well-rounded strategies might be, like, easier to do, okay? Even then, it's still, like, it's very easy to criticize, but, like, nobody is making guides as consistently as Hector is with that quality, you know? Right? Like, yeah, sure, when there's a Junebob guide, we're all flocking to the Junebob guide, because that shit's high quality, right? But there's not a Junebob guide for everything. You know, and sometimes when you see a, and here's the thing, Junebob guides also take time. So it's like, yeah, I will just look at the, I will just watch a job POV clear of the fight, and I will just watch the Hector guide, and I will be thankful for both of those resources available to me. That's at least, I think that's my, you know, that's probably one of my more controversial Final Fantasy takes, is I genuinely think, like, I appreciate Hector for what he does, and I appreciate the help that Hector's guides have given me. Genuinely speaking. And, you know, sometimes I don't follow the Hector guide, sometimes I do my own thing. Sometimes I'll watch a different guide and be like, oh yeah, that's better, that makes more sense. The way they present their information, but still, nobody's doing it like Hector. Nobody's moving that kind of video lucrative, alright? Nobody's smoking that diagram PowerPoint presentation pack like Hector is, you know? And so I gotta be appreciative. I do. It's a good resource. Even if it's not the best resource, it's a fast resource that's reliably good. Even, again, like the most controversial ones, where Hector uploaded the guide before he even finished the fight. It still worked. I don't know what, yeah, it's a little hubris of like, oh, I haven't cleared the fight yet, but I'm good enough to write a guide for it. But isn't that kind of how Final Fantasy rating is, in some weird aspect? Like, I've definitely been in prog points where I know every single thing that I'm doing flawlessly, and will make a mistake like once every 30 pulls, but I'm in a party finder, and people don't know how to do splintering nails or raining cats, right? And so I have to wait 16 hours for them to get their act together, right? It's like, yeah, if I knew how to present information that complicated in that in-depth of a manner, I could have written a guide for M1S before I cleared it, because it's easy, and it's very easy to understand, at least after I've done it for several hours on end, because nobody was ready to clear, right? So it's like, and I'm talking about Party Finder for there. The static that I'm in cleared M1S pretty quickly. It was like week 2 or 3 that we cleared it. And we only progged it for probably like, I don't know, 5 hours? I don't remember how long we put into that fight to like learn it, but it was pretty easy. And, you know, in Party Finder, I'm staying with some groups for 9 hours at a time. It literally, on my alt, took 9 hours to get the clear, and then on my main it took 16 hours to get nothing because I gave up and then I just cleared with my static on Tuesday, right? So it's like, I definitely appreciate the Hector guides because it's like they're consistent, they're consistently good, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, somebody makes a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10 guide faster than anybody can make their 10 out of 10 guides. Like, that's what matters, man. That's why everything's called Hector Strat. It's because it's somebody who has his finger on the pulse, and he's doing a service for the community, and it's genuinely helpful. Like, if Hector Strats were bad, people... Like, if Hector Strats were unusable, people wouldn't use them, right? And he also didn't fall for the Mario Kart bullshit with M2S, alright? I am so pissed off at Party Finder because everybody says Mario Kart. The thing about M2S Alarm Pheromones 1 is that the mechanic is completely goddamn random. And so you cannot do a specific set of movements every single time. So if you insist on going for this, like, preset set of movements, sometimes it's just gonna fail because you lose the dice roll, when you could just do what Hector said and dodge the mechanic with your eyeballs, right? So it's like Hector is like Party Finder villain number 1, but he's also like not dumb, right? Like, he knows what he's talking about, and he makes good, consistent guides. Like, again, I like Junebob guides better, but Junebob guides take a while, and there's not a Junebob guide for every single fight in the goddamn game. But there's pretty much a Hector fight for every single fight in the goddamn game. There's pretty much a Hector guide for every single fight in the goddamn game. Please excuse my language and my misspeaking. I'm on the warpath right now, bro. Do you even get trivia? Is there even trivia to be had? Because I won't feel like doing trivia tomorrow. So if there is trivia, then we need to... If there is trivia, we need to get it done. We need to get it done right now. We need to get it done right now. Oh my god, we've got trivia? No way. I don't have League of Legends open, by the way, because I did close Riot Vanguard in another life, so it is what it is. Isn't it like... Ladybug? Lediba. Ledian? This is a bug flying. I'm like 99.99% sure this is a bug flying. I'm clicking it. Goddamn right. Bug ice? Avalug. This is a bug, right? No, Stom. I remember Stom. I remember. Locked in. Fairy bug, I'm screwed. Alola bug, I'm screwed. Alola Raichu? No. Ninetales. Ninetales Alola. There's also the Sandslash one. Fairy Alola? It's like one of the Tapus, right? I cannot spell. I cannot spell for the life of me. It's like Tapu Lele or something, right? Oh, hell yeah. Middle Evolution Ice. Mammophilo Swine. Because there's like, what is it? It's not Snow-Run, that's the triangle. Is it Swinub? Middle Evolution Flying. We can do... I don't know why I thought the bird was called Razor. What the hell is the bird from Gen 4 called? Zarude Sandstorm? No. It's like a Star... Raptor. Staravia. Yeah, true. Alola Flying. Wasn't one of the Tapus flying? There's probably an easier way to do this, by the way. Probably. Oh, wait. The Ultra Beasts. The Ultra Beasts. Hold on. The Ultra Beasts. The Beasts of Ultramar. The Ultra Bugs. When the Tyranids eat an Ultramarine? What the hell? That's relevant? People are playing Space Marine 2, and apparently it's pretty good. Fairy Bug. This scares the shit out of me. Like Bug, you know? Like Charge-a-Bug, Blip Bug, Avalug. No. Iron Jungulus Bug? Iron Bugulus? No. Middle Evolution Fairy? Clefairy. Goddamn right. I'm surprised that's only... I'm surprised Staravia is a higher middle evolution flying type than Clefairy is a middle evolution... Clefairy is a middle evolution fairy type. Bug Fairy. That's gonna be scary, honestly. Alola flying? I think we just gotta run it down with the top two. I think it's like Grass Electric or something. You look like you have wings. You're like a bird. Oh shit. You look like you have wings. You're a bird, right? Oh shit. The toucan and the cutie fly! I forgot about cutie fly. Well, that's kind of cute. Oh, Curlia! That's right, Gardevoir is a whatchamacallit. Is it really just Celesteela is a steel flying type? Are you crazy? Listen, before you say Rowlet, I thought that was X and Y. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought Rowlet was X and Y. Because it's like... Oh, the pom-poms! Okay. And then apparently the Miniors are all flying as well. We'll put that in the back pocket for later. Staravia was the second most picked one. That's kinda crazy, honestly. Golbat was the Golbat, a Gen 1 Pokemon? Was the least picked? Holy. Last one was Nico. So we'll do... I don't know, shoutouts to Plunger_head. Top lane, melee, alright, there he is. Oh wait, who the hell? 2016 onwards? What the hell? I was gonna type Darius, but that doesn't work. I'm gonna type Darius anyways. Just to kind of see where we're at here. So not fully human. Not fully human. That's important, alright? That's important. Now, who the hell? Like, I don't know. When I think top lane, I think, like, the 4 horsewomen. So I'm thinking, like, Fiora, Riven, Camille. I don't know. What about Kled? No, Kled is a Yordle. That doesn't work at all. Gnar is a Yordle. That doesn't work at all. Who the hell? You're really gonna do me like this? Like, what the hell? I gotta open the League of Legends champion list, because it's sure as shit not Tryndamere. Tryndamere is like 2011. Oh wait, hold on. The resource bar. That's probably a good it's probably like a good gambit, but we're gonna look at the LoL champion list. List of champions for League of Legends. Aatrox, definitely not Aatrox, because, yeah, sure, the rework, whatever, right? But Aatrox is, like, probably, like, 2012 or something. Dr. Mundo, also way too early. Galio's a mid laner and a support. Garen's way too early. Jarvan's a jungler. Cassante? No, Cassante uses mana, right? Cassante's gotta use mana. I guess we could try Cassante as like a little treat. Cassante, we'll see. Cassante is fully human, and also 2022 is not, is too, whatchamacallit. I'm looking at top laners and I'm like, all the ones that I can think of that are male definitely did not come out in, like, the period of time of, like, between 2022 and 2016. It's like, oh yeah, Renekton. Also, Renekton's probably not a human. I wonder if they would count Skarner. But no, Skarner's a jungler. I'm cooked. I have no idea. Volibear's a jungler, right? But Volibear came out in, like, 2010. Also, again, we're looking for humans here. Volibear's like a god. Hold on, I need to do, like, a sanity check, okay? We're gonna do Udyr. Udyr was reworked, right? So Udyr's like a really old champion. Udyr top lane exclusive, Udyr jungle exclusive, by the way, not according to the goddamn, like, I don't know, what is it, like, the LCS, Challenger League? So, not reworked, right? So, not reworked. Human Spiritualist is wrong. Also, Udyr uses mana, apparently. I mean, this is kind of like, what the hell do you want from me? We're gonna go back and we're gonna look at the champion list again. It's like, Tom Kench is a support. Sion got... I'm pretty sure Sion got... No, Sion didn't get reworked, but also Sion's, like, really early on. Singed is, like, one of the earliest champions in the game. Shen... Oh, it's set. It has to be, right? There's no way it's not set. But Set is a... No, Set's a Vastayan, isn't he? Human Vastayan? I was the 2-2-2-2. I would burn the Cosmos to catch Targon in flames. I mean... Only Asol is that big of a hater. I can't believe I was just typing Asol the entire time. Like, yeah, no, nobody's that big of a hater but Asol.
I would burn the Cosmos to catch Targon in the flames.
Yeah. Nobody's that big of a hater. What the hell? Is that, like, Diana's ult? Aw, shit. Okay. Is that Soraka's silence? Aw, shit. Is that some weird Hui ability? Oh, shit. Is this some weird is this like Xerath's ult? No. It's got a very, like, celestial look to it, you know? It's got a very celestial look. I'm very surprised it's not Diana. Maybe it's, Leona's ult. Starlight Touch? Wait, is that Zoe? I should know a Zoe ability, so I should definitely know a Zoe ability. I play Zoe quite a bit. Starlight's Touch. Maybe it's got something to do with Seraphine? This is a little bit hard. Like, I'm reaching for the League of Legends champion list already, because I'm like, who the hell? Maybe this is Bard's Ultimate? Nope. Because I'm trying to think, like, celestial characters, and nothing's really coming up. Maybe Taric? Taric's ult? Nope, it's Q. Listen, I never played the reworked Taric, I'm sorry. Which champions do these emojis describe? A cloud. This could be an Akali smoke bomb. Oh, it's Graves. Okay. I was right on the money. I was right on the money. Is that a... I don't even know what emoji that is. And you can't... Listen, that's not fair to, like, 90% of League of Legends players these days, okay? People don't know. People don't know that Graves used to smoke cigarettes, alright? And then it got taken away. Is that still a popular meme? How is somebody supposed to know that? Like, I got that, I connected the dot with a smoke bomb, and then I saw the gun, and I was like, it's obviously Graves. Because who has a smoke bomb and a gun? Is this the... Who? This is... Okay. I don't think that's Thresh. But I also have no idea who that is. I'm gonna guess Thresh, but, like, I don't think that's Thresh. That's, like, Dark Star Karma? Is there a Dark Star Karma? Is there a... There's a Cosmos Ash skin. Who the hell is this? Orianna? There's a ball there? Does Orianna have a Cosmic skin? I had no idea. That's a crazy... That's awesome. I just didn't know she had a skin like that. Dark Star Oriana, apparently. I got it. It's real. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Have a good one. Bye.